Good morning, everybody. It's Thea. Welcome back to Garden Goddess Tarot and the ridiculous Collection and Declutter series for 2025. Whee! Today's video we are doing RWS and RWS style clone-like decks. So hopefully, I say this with the best of intentions every time, that we can bang through these, because it's going to be a lot of the same stuff over and over again in different sizes, shapes, and colors. This truly is an example of how I'm very clearly a deck collector. Because there's just so many that are so wildly similar, but in my heart are also wildly different. So we're going to go through those today, and then at the tail end of this collection, I also have a bit of decks that aren't technically clones, but they're all by the same creator, and they're kind of, I don't know, you'll see when we get there, but we'll bang all those out as well. So that's the plan for today. For anyone new to the series, hi. We're just basically going through the extent of my entire collection, which I've never officially actually done before, which is pretty crazy. I'm doing kind of like a digital log of it here, as well as decluttering as I go, because it's been a long time since I've had a good purge of decks that I'm not using and ones that don't really fit me or the collection, or just don't really have a space, you know? The ones that feel like they need to vamoose from the club. So that's what we're doing today. There's a playlist for all the other videos down below if you want to watch any of the other ones. They're all ridiculously long because I could not make a short video to save my life. That's okay. I'm allowed to be different. Yeah, the declutterings will all be compiled in a video at the end of the series, where I will post the ones up for sale that will go up for sale there if you are curious about where they're going to go and when and how, etc., etc. So let's get into it. RWS style. Rider-Waite-Smith. What I would consider the OG, but obviously tarot is older and comes in a variety of forms. So many of the modern decks that we use and love are based off of Arthur Edward Waite and Pamela Coleman Smith's ingenious depiction of the energies of the tarot, with their associations and wonderful layers of mystical meaning. And it's obviously caught on because there's so many of these bloody decks. So we've already talked about the first one that I ever got. This was in, I think, the first video. I'm just gonna show it again just because I feel it would feel incorrect to not just have this quickly be at the forefront of the Rider-Waite-Smith video. This is the one that I learned on. This is my forever buddy, and he lives here. And then we also talked about the Dark Side Tarot, a Corrado Roy clone, and there's a few others that are quite similar to the Rider-Waite-Smith that we covered in the Tuck Box video, much like the Art Nouveau and that sort of thing. Like, where we've discussed this in the member space before, actually, where exactly the line is between like an RWS and a clone, and like, does it just need to be the same line work but different colors or settings? Like, how close does it need to be to the original to be considered a clone, and at what point does it no longer become a clone? The ship of Theseus problem going on here. But anyway, feel free to weigh in if any of these that I talk about, if you feel like they're not technically clones, or why, let me know. There's one or two that definitely aren't. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. My more historic decks, classic tarot, but they're all kind of based on the Rider-Waite-Smith like system. So anyway, we'll see. We'll get into it. Let's show a deck. Start with my tiniest tarot ever. This is hilarious that this exists, and I love it so much. It's the Universal Waite Tarot, but it's just very small, and I'm gonna go in as close as I can, and I will definitely have a regular tarot to kind of compare it to. This is the tiny tarot, and I have this for one purpose. It's a very important purpose, so it's not going anywhere. Oh look, we got the world. It's this big. Oh my gosh, hilarious. This deck is not mine, it's from the dolls. It's the dolls deck. Whenever they need to pull cards, they get to use this. So it's a little Perfect Blade doll deck, and incredible little guy. It's impossible to shuffle. I've kind of tried before. Let me see if I can show you. So yeah, they're so small. They're so wee. It's also the thickness to length and width ratio is hilarious, but you can kind of overhand it. Wee. But cannot riffle, I don't think. Is impossible to riffle unless you have extremely tiny doll-sized hands, but yeah, this is my little tiny tarot, and it is a Rider-Waite-Smith clone, and it's gonna stay because it's for the dolls. is probably one of the most ridiculous objects I have in my house. Well, I say that, there's a lot of other weird stuff here, but I feel like it's ridiculous. Anyway, that little guy exists. If you're in the market for an extremely small pocket-sized tarot deck, have a go. I've seen people put them in like a little jar and like you draw one, like you're like drawing a name of a hat or something like that. So it's kind of fun to just have a jar of tiny tarot cards out and about around. But yeah, okay, the next one is actually this one we should talk about. This is the 2009 is on the copyright, but I'm not, is that when it came out? Anyway, this is a copy of the Centennial Edition of the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's the bordered one. I used to have the borderless one, had greenbacks with this image on it, but I didn't like the borderless one. I wanted borders on this. And you can see how we have a border on the back and front. Very good. Very nice. I like. This was probably my most used Rider-Waite-Smith for a while. I don't know if you can tell in the imagery. It's kind of beat up. It's also warped in a Libra shape. I've kind of worked it out a bit now, but like I was using this for festivals and readings in public, and this one would be like my sturdy copy that I would bring out to do readings wherever it was that I was doing readings, parties, events, public. When I worked at the metaphysical shop, I would usually have it with me. So it's a good workhorse deck, obviously. However thick and sturdy the cardstock is, it's just that like waxy, it's the US Games cardstock I don't like. So it's just, that's what it is. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell, like, you know, when decks get all kind of like mottled, it's like, I don't know, it's scuffed from use. But yeah. Anyway, so this was my workhorse one for a good long while. The sides are kind of discolored and all that jazz, but it's on kind of retired presently. I don't use it all that often. The color palette is nice. It's a little bit more muted. It's not as bright and vibrant as the original one I was showing you, my yellow box version, and definitely not as bright as some of the other ones will come to see. But yeah, that's it. I'm not going to talk too long about it. We've all seen it. This was a darling on the online tarot space for a while, when everybody was kind of out there looking for like their perfect Rider-Waite-Smith. I have a thought as well that's been floating around in my head about the search for like the perfect deck. Especially if you're not sold on Rider-Waite-Smith and you think that finding one with a different color palette will make you use it more. Now, this is just my opinion. Other people may say that, oh no, when I got a different color one, it clicked for me and I finally used it. I don't think that's the truth, personally. If the symbols in the images don't strike you in one colorway, they're not going to have any more or less meaning for you if they're a different, like, tone of color. I feel like if you're not interested in the imagery of Rider-Waite-Smith, off the bat, if you think it's boring, if you think you've seen it too much, if it doesn't spark curiosity or draw you into its mystery, a different color palette isn't going to change that for you. Is this a hot take? I don't know. Talking about all sorts of controversial topics these days. Maybe not controversial, but it's just, I feel like if that's the case, if the Rider-Waite-Smith doesn't move you instantly, maybe, like, there's so many other decks out there, like, have your hand at them. Go for it. I know I always say, like, you should probably learn on Rider-Waite-Smith, and I believe that, but if for some reason you just literally can't, if you dislike it so much that you're not picking up the deck, then move on. Like, find something else. You don't have to forever search for your perfect Rider-Waite-Smith. It's not going to solve your problem. It's not going to make you want to use it more. So, it's just a thought that I had in my brain that wanted to come out. So anyway, with that being said, that is one that a lot of people said was the color palette that they enjoyed. So, whatever. I don't love the cardstock. One that I do love the cardstock of is this one. This is the same deck. It's a little different. We could side by side them and like see the different color tones. This one has a bit more teal of a cast to the sky, and the line work's like mildly different. But this is the Lo Scarabeo version, so it's a little bit taller, a little bit thinner. I guess we can show in card size. A little bit. Actually, it's about the same height, but it's just a whisper thinner, about that much. And the cardstock isn't, it's thinner, but I like it more. It's better. For me personally. If you were to ask, which I prefer. This one just feels better in my hands, size-wise. The color tone's a little bit different. Anyway, this one has become kind of, it overtook that other one when I finally decided to just get this one, which is like, I didn't need it. I already had 2 fully functional Rider-Waite-Smith decks. But oh, I wanted the one that was slightly thinner. Anyway, whatever. It just replaced it, but it's actually, come to think of it, it's also warped a little bit too. Not as badly. It doesn't Libra shape, it just kind of woofs, but it's easier. It hurts your hands less, especially, and this is important, if you are like an active working reader, you're doing readings at like a fair or a festival or a party like all day, all night. If you have like a thick, stiff, unruly tarot deck, your hands are so sore. Like, I don't know if you've ever like stretched the muscles in your hands repeatedly over and over again, but oh my goodness, it's a workout for sure. But yeah, this one I like it a little bit more, and I don't know if you can tell how gungy it is. Also, these do get use. I do like them. Rider-Waite-Smith is one of my favorites, and just it's so easy and intuitive for me to just pick up and read for clients, because like I don't have to second guess myself at all, because I know these images back to front. As I've said many times, they're like tattooed on the back of my eyeballs at this point. So yeah, that's the Lo Scarabeo 1909 original Rider-Waite-Smith, I believe is what it's called. Original 1909 maybe? Yeah. There's also like a circular version of this one around too. I don't know, it's wild, but anywho, there's that one, and I like it quite a bit. And it will stay. Do I need both of those? Any normal person would say no, but I'm going to keep them because, I don't know, they're useful tools in my opinion. Another Rider-Waite-Smith in a different size and shape is this one. This one, though, is my purse deck. So it's a little bit smaller than the others. And by a little bit, I mean, it's probably about half the size. It's about that big. This one is a bit of a different art style as well. It's the same as this. It's the universal weight, but it's just a little bigger. Pretty sure. The box for it's long gone. Oh no, it was a tin. Do I still have the tin? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember, but it did come in a tin, a travel tin. But the thing is, here's a fun, like, you know how we always say, tin decks, they travel so well. 1, airports don't love them. And 2, they rattle. When they're in your bag, they make that like tinny rattly noise. Do I have one here? I do. Like, they do that all day long. And that's kind of annoying. And they're heavy too. So anyway, I've moved it to this little bag, and that's been working out well for me. And actually, I keep a little piece of amethyst in with it too. Isn't that cute? Which is also dangerous. I will say I've had problem before. If you put a sharp crystal in a bag with the tarot deck and you're traveling with it, it will start to like eat up and mark the backs and sides of your deck. I had that problem with the Ritual Tarot, actually. I had a stone in with the bag, and I traveled with it, and it started to like, it's basically like, you know, having stones in your jeans when you wash them, like stone wash it. It wears it away as you wander through life. Anyway, just note of caution there, but I also like to carry crystals with them, so I'm not as precious with these decks, I guess, so I don't mind. But yeah, this is what it looks like. Is this the one that was hand-drawn by the same lady that did the Hanson Roberts? Yes, I feel like that's correct. So her, like, it's like a pencil style illustration, softer lines, fuller colors. It's just another version of the Rider-Waite-Smith. Just drawn differently. So you can tell, like, the lines are thinner. It seems more soft and gentle. Like a hair, just like a whisper more realistic as well, as opposed to like the full-on illustrations of the other ones. His face. What a goofball. And they're ginger. Interesting. Yeah, little slight changes. Oops, that make it interesting. But yeah, this is one I just keep in my purse for on-the-go readings. So That's what it's for. It does its job, and I don't ask much of it because it's just a clone. And I like the size, and it has the little bag, and that's that. So that is one that I have, and it will go promptly back into its place in my purse, just because I like to have one with me. Because you never know when you need a tarot deck. Okay, sticking to the like super Rider-Waite-Smith clone-y decks. The next one is the Albano Waite deck. And this is an older one from the 70s, I believe. Like this one isn't. This was a modern publication, but when it originally came out, it was from sometime then. Oh, and the book's still in here, so maybe I will be able to tell. US Games deck. The backs, iconic. I love those backs. Those are, I know you can't, they're not super reversible, which is the only annoying thing, but they're beautiful and I love them. This is a facsimile of the 1968 edition, published by Tarot Productions Inc. in the direction of Frankie Albano. Yeah, so 1968 was a good one. Those are title cards, and it looks like this. And this one is very colorful, incredibly. This one takes the colors and goes a bit wild with them. But it's fun. And the reason that I have this deck is there's a tarot / oracle-ish deck that we'll talk about in a later video that is like a bonded pair with this one. It's got the same color scheme, but it's incredible and amazing and made by my wonderful friend Chrissy Bentley. If you are aware of the deck, you know. If you know, you know. But it just, and the way that the colors in this line up with the colors in that are just perfect. It's great for chakra work, and it's incredible for like just being able to like pick threads of energy that run through a reading. So this has a specific purpose, and that purpose is for this deck to be used with that deck in a kind of holistic, all full body type of reading. So I enjoy that greatly. But so yeah, that's why I have this version of Rider-Waite-Smith. Oh, I'm so crazy. I love it though. This is the joy of being a collector. Self-reflection sometimes is difficult, but I'm fully like I'm embracing it. I love it. This is who I am, and I'm into it. So, isn't that fun? Oh, a spicy strength card. But yeah, it's definitely, it does not fit with my aesthetic whatsoever. But sometimes you just want to use a deck that doesn't fit your aesthetic. You're just looking for a message. You're looking for an analysis, a reading. Like you don't like sometimes some days the aesthetic doesn't matter. Other days it does. Some days you're going on vibes. Other days you're just like looking for practical, no muss, no fuss, just clarity, you know? And that's okay. But it's just interesting to recognize the difference between the two. Anyway, that's the Albano Waite, a facsimile of an older deck from the 60s. 68, what a good year. So yeah, that's a good one. It's gonna hang around. And I think, and the last, oh wait, no, I've got two, kind of. Yeah, I've got another one that's really close to like an exact copy of the Rider-Waite-Smith. This one is a tarot collectibles deck, and it is so special because it's so pretty. This is the only deck I have that has this kind of like sparkly overlay on it, and like full magpie brain, like I saw this and I was like, ooh, pretty. And this is a Spring-Waite tarot, obviously you can read. A Rider-Waite-Smith clone. This is on like hilariously super thick cardstock as well. The imagery's been changed slightly on this one, so you'll see this is a little bit different. It still has the same line work. It still has very similar, like, Pixie's font. Slightly, it's a little bit different, but it is. And then there's a bit of, like, a flourish in the imagery department. But it's also been coded in this, like, it's so beautiful. Reading this, right now it's not good because it's a gloomy day, but if it was a sunny day and you're reading with this outside, like, oh my god, it's so perfect. It's a sparkly, wonderful joy. The backs are kind of meh, but that's okay. I'm not in it for the backs. I'm in it for the fronts. And yeah, it's just fun. Another one that like is not my aesthetic whatsoever, but that's okay. Sometimes we don't want aesthetic. Sometimes we just want to like frolic outside with a bright and colorful and sparkly, ridiculous tarot deck. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've not had this one that long, so it needs more use. which it will get once we get back into a time of year where it's appropriate. Funny, this one though, it might cause me a problem because it's too nice. Like I will be reluctant to use it out in the dirt, but I think maybe once I get it a bit dirty. Because right now I'm like precious with it because it's so pretty, but you know, it's like a new car. Sometimes you just want to put like a big dent in it to, you know, save the trouble of worrying about whether it gets a dent later, you know? It's like, I think that's what they mean when they say broken in, right? Look at that. The 7 of Wands and it's bees. Anyway, so fun. Look. Little mer horses. That's what they're called. Anyway, this is a fun one. Again, bees. What has this deck got against bees? They're just covered in honey. That's hilarious. Okay. Yeah, no. It's fine. So this is the Spring Weight Tarot. And it's going to hang around as well. So sparkly. And yeah, because it's a Rider-Waite-Smith, it's just a wildly easy read. But yeah, cardstock on that one is a little thick, but I imagine that's just entirely because of the coating that makes it sparkly, so that's okay. And the last one that's like a particularly clone-y deck, that's like very much the images of the Rider-Waite-Smith, like Pixie's characters, basically. I'm gonna stand by that. These are like the true clones, in my opinion. Last one is a Rediscovered Classic Tarot. This is one that's been redrawn with ballpoint pens. And I love this. This one's so cool. It's from Pentagram Publishing. Pretty sure you can get it on Etsy. It's got a really handy little book in many languages, but you know, as needed. There's the backs. It's beautiful. I think it's from the Ukraine. Yeah, it's wonderful. And the soft color palette, the line work, it's got a little bit, you know, touched by the hands of humans again. We enjoy. I just like evidence that humans have been there, you know? This is great. A soft, lovely, cozy reader. This one, it has a very pastoral feel to me. Like, this is the kind of, the way that the landscape has been rendered in this really reminds me of, like, that particular scene in Disney's Fantasia, which pretty much changed my brain chemistry as a child. And I've always been forever seeking that mythical landscape feel. We've gotten close, guys. We've gotten close. But yeah, this feels very that to me, like pastoral in the Disney Fantasia sense, like waiting for like a sexy centaur lady to wander out at any moment. But yeah, it's beautiful. I like it quite a lot. And I think it's an indie deck that's reasonably priced as well. So highly recommend if you're looking for a clone that is just, you know, drawn with pen. It's beautiful. It's great. Lovely one that you don't see kicking around TerraTube too often. And again, the moon. That moon is beautiful. Stunning, gorgeous. Another Rider-Waite-Smith. Again, are we bored of looking at Rider-Waite-Smith decks? Never. So yes, Rediscovered Classic Tarot, Pentagram Publishing. I don't know if we have the guy's name on it. Ah, we do. Dmytro Rizik is famous as unique ballpoint pen drawn decks. Oh, there's a dark gothic one called the Bloody Tears Tarot. And the Romantic Fantasy Garden Tarot? You say? This is one of his I had first, and then I saw that this had come out later and was like, obviously, yes, I need that. But this one was the one that started it all, and I really like this. This one, though, isn't like a true clone. It has more of its own kind of direction of art style, but I also wanted to kind of like keep it together with the other decks. So we're going to talk about it today. Fantasy Garden Tarot. Sounds right up my street. Lovely. Sorry, backs, fronts. But you can see it's definitely got its own world that's like slightly different to the Rider-Waite-Smith. It still feels like a Rider-Waite-Smith. It's just a little bit different. Like there's a dragon on this. What the heck? But it's beautiful. Lovely fantasy aesthetic. Still kind of has a bit of that pastoral feel to it. Less though. I find. This one's so good for just picking up and doing easy reads with as well. Oh, gorgeous. And yeah, another one, drawn ballpoint pen by the hands of humans, rendered in gorgeous color and texture. Nice. Yeah, it's lovely. So, Pentagram Publishing does some really cool decks if you've never heard of them. And they're some of my faves. I just look at that. That's like dreams. So my inner temple just kind of lives up here, overlooking this. It's perfect. Feels very mystical to me, just based on my experience. But also like luxurious and indulgent at the same time. Not like the kind of ascetic mysticism, which there's a time and a place for also, but indulgent mysticism. Luxurious mysticism. That's my vibe. Anyway, that's a lovely one. The Fantasy Garden Tarot by Pentagram Publishing. And yeah, these are lovely. One more before we get into like my more historic decks ish. I don't know, there's like a where's the line between what's an old deck and what's not, because what I think might be a newish deck might be old to some of the young bucks out there, so I'm older than I think I am. Oops. Golden Universal Tarot. There's also a Universal Tarot, which I do not have. This is the gilded version of it. This one kind of lives in the same place as the Golden Art Nouveau and all of the kind of artist reproduction decks, like Art Klimt and the Russian Tarot of the Tsar and Botticelli and, you know, all those ones. It's Little Scarabeo deck, beautiful black borders, kind of an intense art like style. So all of the characters in this are in the exact same like positions and settings as they would be in the Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's like they're different people. It's a completely different character drawing on these, but it's so good. I like this one. The backs are also top tier. Again, you guys know I love a back that looks like a rug or wallpaper. Those are my parameters. If it looks like a rug or wallpaper or it's solid black, you've won my heart forever. But yeah, another gorgeous one to read outside. So sparkly. Like, and it's gilded. Like, this is all gilded as well, which you can't, it's really blinding in real life. Lots of emotion and intensity in the artwork in this. This deck is a really intense one, and I find the readings that I do get with this, however blingy and gorgeous, it's an intense emotional feel. A little bit different. He's in a different orientation there. But yeah, a little bit more harsh, a little bit more intense. Like, yeah, you can see how there's just more action in the character drawing. It's a really good one also. But yeah, in my brain, it really fits within the clone kind of category, though. Like, when I reach for it, I'm reaching for a variant of a Rider-Waite-Smith. Ooh, scandalous. Yeah, and if the gold's too much, there is a non-blingy version of this as well. I think it might have white borders instead of the black, but yeah, all of our familiar imagery is there. It's just different. It's the same but different. So obviously I had to try. Look at the sun. Whee! So yeah, that is the Golden Universal Tarot by Lo Scarabeo by Robert D'Angelis, I believe. Yes, is the artist. Because we don't need to go through every one of the images, but gosh, they're so pretty. Okay. And I've also edged this in black. So this is a lovely example of black borders on the black borders on the front, black edge. Yes, feels wonderful. Feels correct. Okie dokie. Now we can get into my more historic decks. Let's start with the one that started it all. The Aquarian Tarot. Iconic. Absolutely iconic. The images in this show up in all sorts of tarot books. This is from the, is it 60s or 70s? The artist is David Palladini. I would like to know, 1970 was when it was first published. So technically the Albano Waite is older. This is stunningly beautiful. The vintage copies have these backs, but it's all the way to the border. And these are the friends. Another just Rider-Waite-Smith style imagery. Simple, clear. These are the kind of decks that I really like to read with reversals in as well, just because they're so obvious to me, I guess. So I will leave them in and not worry about flipping them over. But yeah, I love the suggestive shape of the wands in this deck. I feel like it really adds a layer. Actually, and the swords kind of have subtle suggestion to them as well. But yeah, it's lovely. It's like some of the the star is gorgeous. Like this is like iconic imagery. This is the kind of stuff that you'd want on your walls. An incredible color palette. The indie version of this is the mass market one, which I believe is still technically available. The indie version of this has slightly more muted colors, like a little murkier, I believe, and richer. So some people do prefer that one. And there's quite a few of them around. You always hear them and see them popping up everywhere, because I think this was a fairly popular deck back in the day. But yeah, it's a lovely one with some really, really gorgeous artwork in it. I think, oh, have we got By the Devil yet? The Lovers is iconic as well. Gorgeous image. So beautiful. Let's see if I can find him. There's Justice there. Yeah, no, the majors in this are just so good. High Priestess. Death. Gorgeous aces as well. Where's my devil? The Tower. Oh, Temperance. That's the box image. Incredible. So, like, Art Deco. For sure. You know what should exist that doesn't yet? We need an Erte deck. Which I guess this is probably as close to that as possible. There's the devil. I like that one. But yeah, does anyone else think we need an Erte deck? I do. Or at least include Erte's art in some more of our collage decks, guys. Come on. Anyway, yeah, this is a lovely one. By David Palladini, The Aquarian Tarot. I'm sure most of you are well familiar with that one. And David Palladini also did another tarot deck a little later on, I believe, called the New Palladini Tarot. And it's right here. So we're going to talk about it next. Guys, so far I have not decluttered anything, but that's okay. We'll get there. I'm sure there's something that doesn't spark joy. 1996, and then this one was printed in 2011 by US Games. Yeah, I think 1996 was the original publishing, so it's much newer, which I guess 1996 still was kind of a while ago, but it's not as old as the Aquarian. Yeah. The backs. Like them. The red, the snake. That's good. Lemniscate, Ouroboros, all of those things. And the friends. The star. Now this one, I've seen, I think I saw most on Juliet Peekaboo Rose's channel. And I think her and Meg were both talking about how everybody looks a bit sweaty in this. So I'll never be able to get that out of my head, but that's okay. I don't mind people with a little bit of a luminous glow. Maybe they just went a bit ham on their skincare or highlighter that day, you know. But definitely a different beast to the Aquarian. There's definitely a different feel to this that's a bit more animated, cartoonish, illustrative. Think like children's book illustrations maybe is the best way I could say. Love the Fool's Hat. Super good. But just another good clone. I'm gonna run out of things to say about these guys. That's cool. Oops. I like that one. And the sun is good. Mr. Palladini knows how to do a good sun. Yeah. Do you see? A little sweaty. Lots of highlighter. Oh, I love the florals and the cups. But anyway, that's another lovely classic clone type of tarot deck. The next one is the Morgan Greer Tarot, and this one is an 80s deck, I believe. Late 70s, early 80s. And I don't think the book is in here, so I cannot say. I really should just... Oh, wait. 1979. Yeah, so technically 80s. Late 70s, early 80s. By Morgan Greer. This isn't a vintage copy. It just looks like it because it's been out and about with me. This one went to Greece with me, too. This has a very... looks like it could take place in Greece feel about it, which is why I took it with me, obviously. And it's a little bit beat up as well because she's been out and about. But yeah, something about the imagery in this, and I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I just had a feeling in my heart that like a lot of these, they look Greek. So I brought it with me to Greece. Gorgeous colors. It's just so good. I like how different the devil is too. Like they're kind of zoomed in. They're a little bit portraity. Kind of brings the energy of tarot a little bit closer to you. But there's still enough symbolism going on around them that it's easy to kind of discern their connection to the Rider-Waite-Smith. It's just gorgeous. But yeah, you can't tell me these are not Greek. It's headcanon at this point for me. But yeah, lovely tarot deck. Is very good. Works wonders. Does the trick. Happy to have. Mind you, it's also been a while since I busted it out. I think this is the first time in quite a while I've had it in my hands, which is another benefit to this series. Like I love that hermit. I really like just the act of like going through every one of my tarot decks and running it through my hands and looking at it, being like, okay, yes, can confirm, love this, it's gonna stay. And just like rekindle that connection I had with it, you know? Like obviously things aren't gonna mean the same to you throughout the extent of your journey with whatever it is that you're using as a spiritual tool, right? Like you're obviously gonna grow and change. Your connections are going to grow and change. You're going to move through phases and vibes and energy shifts and all that stuff. But it's just nice to like come back around and like check and see where it's at, how you feel, what's going on. Another classic tarot deck, the Sacred Rose Tarot. Stunning full color tarot imagery by artist and psychic Joanna. The Sacred Rose Tarot deck draws upon the symbolic rose of the Western world, the ancient Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, and the cosmos itself, which we love. This is a great deck. It's super cute. I need to know the year. Something about these old ones, I'm like, I just need to know immediately. Tell me when. 1982 was when this one was first published. There's the backs. A mystical little fella. Again, I'm not entirely sure the best way to describe this, other than cute vintage deck, kind of mystical figures on it. I don't know, it is what it is. It's itself. It's a great reader. Kind of in a weird way. Well, not that one. I was going to say a little bit feels like the hollow eyes of them reminds me a little bit of Tarot of the Cat People and Londa Tarot, but there's more of a scene kind of going on in it, which is a little easier to just like intuitively read as you go. Like, would you call this a clone? I don't even know. I thought it might have been. It definitely lives in the same family as the vintage decks, though. So, I think we're definitely straying from clone territory at this point. Look at that devil. These are so fun. These are great. And all of these, not a complaint on the cardstock. All of these older decks, perfect cardstock. Feels great in the hand. No complaints whatsoever. Just useful. Practical. But yeah, Sacred Rose Tarot is a good one. Highly recommend checking out if you're into it. Oh, this one's more of a clone, though. Probably should have talked about this one a wee bit before. Why not? This is a bit chaos today. The JK Tarot. Whee! So Tarot Collectibles has done facsimiles of the 2 years of the JK Tarot, the 89 and the 70, no, 79 and 85, I think. I think this is the 79 one. But it's a Japanese tarot reader made a deck in those years, and this is it. So this is one that'll be a clone, but with fun colors and different faces, different poses. Another easy reader. Beautiful. Different expressions. I do appreciate the different expressions because they really kind of color a reading. Like the face on the character in the card can sometimes like take the reading in a direction otherwise different than expected. I love how grumpy they are. Everybody's perturbed. Even he looks a little bit smug. No one's really happy. Everybody's got something going on. But this is a lovely one. Definitely has earned its place within the historic deck kind of category. And is an easy reader due to its cloney nature. The same but different. Yep, so that is the JK Tarot, which stands for Jupiter King Tarot, which is awesome. Love some Jupiter energy in this house. Okay, another lovely historic deck, the Barbara Walker Tarot. And just this morning in the Discord, little did they know I had this stack of tarot decks on the desk ready to talk about. They brought up the Barbara Walker Tarot. We were asking, what would be a good Sag deck, and this one was suggested. But I refuted. I think this one has more of an air feel to it, but that's just entirely based on how I feel about air signs. I feel like this has a little bit of like a Libra Gemini feel about it, but feel free to weigh in down below. Also, we're very happy to take suggestions for Sagittarius decks. Happy Sagittarius season, by the way, which is what prompted the conversation. But this one, the Barbara Walker Tarot. Barbara Walker, what an interesting lady. I love her books, her symbols, her sacred symbols book, and myths, women's myths book. Both of those are fantastic, and I love them, and I will keep them always. There's a few of her other books I've been looking for, but she kind of originally came from the world of knitting and like fiber arts, which is brilliant. And I like to take that as a little lesson that yes, you are human, you can contain multitudes. Like you can like be successful in like a knitting and fiber art community, and then like turn heel and like go write a bunch of esoteric books and create like wild and moody feminist esoteric tarot deck. Like it's really interesting. So yeah, this is one that I could have maybe thrown in the esoteric deck collection, or maybe the witchy one. Like she's elusive. She fits everywhere, but she's also very much her own thing, this deck. So yeah, mad respect for Barbara Walker. However, there's something about this deck and me. We don't mesh. We don't vibe. And I remember when I first got this years ago, did an interview spread with it. And I can vividly remember the interview spread. And I was like, wow, this one, she's potent. She's punchy. She knows what's up. But then she like promptly slammed shut on me. So she's not a talker. She feels very airy, which is another thing. Like there's a harshness and I don't know, unreachable to me and how I access my tarot information, I guess. And the deities that are included on the court cards, very few of which I have any personal connection nor interest in going deeper with them, so it kind of renders... Like, that's the thing, like, when decks do that, they'll throw deities on. If they're ones that you don't connect with or just don't have the intention to, it'll throw you in a reading, I find. Or it just makes me less likely to want to pick her up, but some of these cards are really good. And they do have keywords on them that are a little bit different to your, standard RWS or Thoth keywords. So it's fun. And there's some really, really good cards to make the readings more dynamic and interesting. But for some reason, it's just not hitting for me. I prefer her books. This is like the Rachel Pollack situation again. Thoroughly love her writing. The deck that they made is just not for me, I guess. So this is one. I am torn between keeping around for collection purposes because it's the Barbara Walker, just the little guy, cute little tin. This was the one I shook at you earlier to make the tin noise, or also just maybe letting it go because someone else might find a place in their life that this fits better. But yeah, for me, even just like flipping through it now, it's not sparking joy. It's not triggering my intuition in any real way. So I think she's gonna go. Let's, I haven't done this yet when I'm unsure. Let's pull a card and see what she thinks. That's a clever tactic. So I'm gonna do my like 2. So I'm gonna do like, what's it gonna, like, what do you think if you stay? What do you think if you go? Just to compare and contrast, you know? So, what do you think if you stay? Ooh, we got 2. If you stay, we've got defeat and challenge, 5 of swords and 7 of wands. Okay, clear. Okay, what do you think if you go? Let's do 2 just for cohesion. What do you think if you go? So we've got temperance and death. Interesting. So these are both minors. These are both majors. Sorry, you cannot see super well. No, sorry, that's if you stay. If you stay, defeat and challenge. If you go, there's a rebalancing and an ending, closure. Yeah, that makes sense. I think do we confirm it does indeed want to go? It thinks that is the trajectory of its path. It'll be a fight no matter what. If it stays, it'll be a fight. If it goes, it will bring balance and closure, integration, smoothness, the middle path. Yeah. Anyway, that's what I think. I think it's gonna go. I think she wants to go. We'll let her loose. If you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it was meant to be. I don't know how fully I believe that, but anyway, I think Barbara Walker is going to put that on the correct way. Yeah, I think she's gonna go in the declutter pile. Woo, good job. 1. All right, and the last one of the like super cloney clones-ish, whatever, historic decks. Maybe this is more of a historic deck. This is another one from Tarot Collectibles. This is the Thompson Lang Tarot. It does not say anywhere on the outside that's what it's called, but that's what it's called. Tarot Fortune Cards, British manufacturer. I'm not even sure if this one is actually made in Britain, but that's what the original box probably said. Fabric finish. Oh, it does have a fabric finish. Nice. This one is so cool, and I have not used it yet. As I said, I haven't had the Tarot Collectibles decks all that long. It did have an extra Fool in it, which is the same as the other one, so that's interesting. And an extra Wheel of Fortune. The backs are so pretty. Look at these. That is a gorgeous tarot back. Yeah. Just another take on our Rider-Waite-Smith. So the majors feel very cloney. There's some new names. We've got Great Priest there. Kind of a Marseille Lovers, though. So a little mishmash, a little hodgepodge. So yeah, it's still in order. Very primary colors as well. There's a few secondary colors, but mostly primary. And then the pips, though, the minors do a weird. So Ace of Cups isn't too different. 2, 3, 4. Did I make that up? I'm pretty sure they go weird in some place. Might be the Wands and Swords. Because so far the cups are very Rider-Waite-Smith. Page, Knight, Queen, King. Oh, we got Pentacles next. Very the same also. Did I just make... I'm sure. Let's see. Swords. 2 of Swords. 3 of Swords. 4. 5. 6. Yeah, that's a little Rider-Waite-Smithy. Different imagery, but otherwise not. Sorry, I very much can't remember what the heck was going on. Maybe it's the Wands. I know, it must be. There's one that's weird. It's this one, the Wands. The Wands do a weird thing in this. They do this, which is different. I don't hate it. It's just different. But yeah, nice linen finish. Cute little mini guy. Yeah, the Thompson Lang Tarot. Through all the ages, seers have sought the ways of fortune, fate, and strife. They wrote their knowledge on the cards as signposts for the road of life. Beautiful. I'm gonna write that in a book, actually. This is a reminder. Anyway, that one's cool and it's gonna stay. For now, anyway, till I see how I feel about using it, but too new to consider. Okay, so those are the most of the clones and clone adjacent historic decks in my collection. Let's get into the last category, which is a problem that I have with a particular creator. It's not a problem, it's a good problem. It's a problem because I like them too much. And that particular creator is Ciro Marchetti. I said it right? Marchetti. Encore Tarot was the first one that I purchased. This is a French version of the deck that came out mass market. I don't know, is it still available? I have no idea. It's in a lovely magnetic box though, and the production quality is pretty nice. It's big, it's gilded, and it looks like this. And I like it a lot. I did a lot of research when I kind of decided that I wanted to try a Ciro Marchetti deck. And this was the first one I got, and I liked it a lot. There's like a fun, very whimsical, like I've talked about this before, all of his decks have, there's an era and a type of tarot that they really embody that kind of rides the line between like entertainment and fortune telling and fate and mystery and whimsy. Like there's a lot of use of circus imagery and court gestures, and it's very magical, and it really fits with the time that aligns with when I kind of started to read tarot as well. So it feels comfortable, it feels a little bit like home to me, but I can see why a lot of people would find it very ridiculous. Sorry, my husband just went by in the tractor. I had to wave at him. He's so cute. I'm spreading fertilizer today. How fun. This deck, the Encore Tarot, is kind of a compilation of various art from decks that he already did that already existed. Basically, this is a highlight reel, best of the best, kind of mixed tape of all of the art that he wanted to kind of throw together, and then he kind of went over it to kind of unify the art style to make it a cohesive deck, and it worked really well, which is interesting. It will also become a problem when we start talking about the other decks that I'm going to share, because there's going to be repeat art in them from this, so it gets kind of confusing. But yeah, this was my first Ciro deck, and I really like it. Great reader. His decks just work really well for public readings. They look beautiful on the table. They're such a vibe. I love them. So yeah, that was my first one, and it's gonna stay. And I think it still is technically my favorite Ciro deck. The next one I got was the Indie Mystic Palette Tarot, and this is in the sepia tone. There is subsequently mass market editions of this that are bigger, thinner cardstock. I think they're from Llewellyn. Don't quote me on that. I think they are, but I'm not sure. His decks kind of get picked up by all sorts of publishers. But I have the indie version of the sepia tone one. This one's on a matte cardstock. It didn't come gilded. I edged it, surprise, surprise, in black. There's the Fool. Like it's a digital collage, digital composite type of deck. All of them are. But there's something about his art style that's just very charming, and I really appreciated this color palette. I thought it was great. I love the inclusion of the elemental and the zodiacal symbols throughout this deck as well. It's very like, the people that in this deck are obviously all based off of a lot like real portraits of people who existed. It feels real. It feels human in that way, instead of just like being an artist's rendition of a face that they've, you know, sometimes faces can seem really samey throughout decks. Maybe even the Rider-Waite-Smith might have this problem. Not problem, but just thing. But yeah, they're all like that's a person somewhere. I'm sure of it. But anywho, this one is a treat. I like having it around. Another fun one is all of his decks tend to work really well in reading for other situations. I don't know what it is. It's just kind of a a universal understanding of the practicality and readability of tarot in the deck. So you can see the majors here have the astrological association, the Hebrew letter on them as well, and there's like lots of other like little bits within it. Actually, all of them have their sign and planet. So yeah, it's good. And that one got me kind of curious about all of his other decks. And Jiro's been around for a while, and he's been making decks for a while. I guess I fell down that rabbit hole a little bit. Let's just pull them all out. I want you to see the ridiculousness here. So there's these two. This one, this one, this one, and this one. These are all, this is the extent of the Ciro Marchetti deck collections. We talked about these two already, being my first two. And we have all of these other ones that I wanted to try. And the funniest thing is that technically this one, the Gilded Tarot Royale, and this one over here, the Gilded Tarot, are the exact same deck, except this one is just like a modernification, like just like a revamp of the art in this to a newer one. So there's those. Tarot Grand Lux, a lot of this art is in the Encore Tarot, and then Tarot of Dreams, I think, is the oldest. Maybe. I'm not sure which one of these is the oldest. I don't remember. And I don't pick these four up very often. So let's look at them. I've got them all out of their boxes. Look at them. Look at their backs. Such a vibe. Alright, so these two are US Games decks. This one is the Tarot of Dreams. This one is the Grand Lux. This is the Gilded Tarot Royale, and this is the Gilded Tarot. So I got all of these were new. This one I bought secondhand. It comes with a big old guidebook as well, written by Barbara Moore, which is nice. Mind you, there's not much in there. Secondhand. Someone's notes are in here, which I always appreciate. I love creeping on what other people think is poignant at the time. But I think the cardstock is definitely the weakest on this old one. It's very, actually it needs edged in black, but I'm not sure I'm gonna go to the trouble. It's chipping, and it's that like cardboardy, papery, like feels like cereal box a little bit texture. If you know, you know. So there's that one. It was also wrapped in this cloth. Like, someone loved this. It's a shame that I've subjected it to collection status. And I'll put this over here next to it. So, because I want to look at these ones next to each other. So these all have good US Games cardstock. This is like our regular kind of subpar Llewellyn cardstock, and this is like extra bad old Llewellyn cardstock. I think Llewellyn's just always had a problem with cardstock. Yeah, I guess we'll just start flipping just to see how I feel here. The art style on this one is particularly vintage as well, and simple. But again, we still have our astrological correspondences, which is quite handy. I think I'm looking. Yeah, you see how just like there's a little bit of a refinement in the art with this one. I do appreciate the borders on this older one. There's something cozy about it. It's just kind of interesting. And the Grand Lux, I do like those borders. Okay. All right, we need to decide, because I obviously do not need all of these. They do not, there we go. Now you can see better. They do not all need to be here. They not all spark the same amount of joy. I love these backs. I think in a perfect world, I would want these backs on this deck. Yeah. But I think the Gilded Tarot and the Gilded Tarot Royale, I was thinking of maybe keeping one of them, but I think maybe both of them are gonna go. I just don't think they're quite there. I don't know, there's just something about them. The Grand Lux might be the one. Mind you, okay, so this is one of the images that's in the Encore Tarot, and I think a lot of the art in this is in the Encore, like that one too. Do I even need to keep it if so much of it is in the Encore Tarot, which I like more? I don't know. Oh, that's tricky. Let's look at some more of this Tarot of Dreams business. That is the spookiest death card ever. Oh, it's so, like, charming, though, in its own weird way. I don't know. Are any of you also charmed by this art style? I feel like I would want to mix this with those, like, old gothic kind of witchy decks, like the tarot or the Witch's Kitchen Oracle and the Witch's Wisdom Oracle and like that Wisdom of the House of Night. I feel like it would go really well with those. But I also really don't. I'm just not. It's so close to the bottom of decks that I'm likely to pick up, I think. But it's cool. I love the, like, the fade around the outside and the fade on the borders on the back. Cardstock, good. They're bigger too. They're, like, bigger than a standard tarot size. This is a standard Llewellyn size, and, like, look how much it's a good chunk bigger. But again, that makes for, like, especially if you're reading for other people, throwing them down on a table is good. But it's also got the Palace cards. This, the Encore Tarot also had there's like 4 extra palaces of each of the suits. Kind of like a manifestation of the space of that in real life. Romance novel cover? Wow, it charms me, but I also don't know if I need to keep it. So tricky to me. And I wonder if these Palace cards are the ones. They probably just redid them, threw them in the Encore Tarot. That makes sense. Like, what a guy. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I think yeah, it's gotta go. I don't use it. And it sits in its box in, like, the split, like, 2 side by side. So, like, if you want to use it, and if I put it in a bag, I'm not gonna. I think maybe it's definitely gonna go. Same with this old guy, the Gilded Tarot. I don't know if there's anybody out there looking for an older version of this. Hit me up, because I know there's some people who still really like this version, and read with it, because this was like a workhorse for a lot of older readers. So yeah, I'm gonna let it go as well. It's time with me hath ended. And I think also I was considering keeping the Gilded Tarot Royale as well, but I like the other one so much better. And there is something about just a Llewellyn deck in my hands that doesn't feel right, you know? And that's such a weird, yeah, it's not speaking to me like it should. I need to also, okay, let's get these 3 for sure. Tarot of Dreams, Gilded Tarot Royale, and the Gilded Tarot. They're all gonna go. So I'm gonna get them out of the way, add them to the declutter pile. And then I want to look at this one next to the Encore Tarot just to see how similar it is before I, like, because if it's so similar, I don't need both. So I'm just gonna get myself organized here, and then I'll be back. Alrighty, I've got them out. This one here is the Tarot Grand Luxe Mass Market Edition, and this is the Mass Market Encore Tarot. Let's see. Let's see what we think here. Because I think this moon card is in here. They just feel so similar. But are they, like, similar, like the same? Like, I like them. Do I need both? I like the slightly different art style of this one, because everything's been gone over and it seems more illustrated, almost. Like, there's more, I don't know, it's just I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. Yeah, there's so many similarities. Okay, yeah, see that one again? We saw him over here too. I think a lot of this one came from this. There's some from other decks too, but I think the majority of it came from the Tarot Grand Lux. Yeah, that one was as well. Okay, but these are different. They're both Three of Cupses. I should put them in order and look, but I'm not that invested. Okay, here's what's going to happen. The answer isn't entirely clear to me at this present moment. So what I'm going to do is, obviously, we're going to keep the Encore Tarot around. Tarot Grand Lux is going to be in limbo for a bit. That's what I'm going to do. But the other three are going to go. So, how many Ciro Marchetti decks does a girl need? 2 or 3. But I think, like, this is my main one. This is my, like, second place. And this, in theory, could be my third place. But it's so similar to this one. But I do like the cardstock on this. I'm overthinking this. I'm overthinking it. Limbo. Keep. Declutter. 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 Yes. That's the move. That was a bit of a struggle, but we got there. Struggle bus got to the station safely. So today we are decluttering the Barbara Walker Tarot, the Gilded Tarot Royale, the Tarot of Dreams, the Gilded Tarot, and then Tarot Grand Lux with a big limbo sticker on it. But it'll go with the declutters, and if I feel the need to snatch it out of it later, I might. Yeah, so that's 5. 5 decluttered of, let me just do a quick count and see how many we talked about today. Okay, we talked about 22 today. So we're getting rid of 5 of 22. Like 4.5 of 22. So it's better than some of the other categories lately. We're getting there. We're getting back into my groove. But I did know I needed to cut back the Ciro collection. I just wasn't using them. They don't need to be here. They don't spark as much joy as they once did. And then Barbara, we've had our time with her. I think she's for sure she's gonna go. So okay. That has been the, like, Rider-Waite-Smith clone and clone adjacent classic vintage tarot deck category and collection. Hope it was fun. Next week we are doing either painterly decks or collage decks. Or the 2 categories left. And then maybe I'll do, like, I think I've got some random oracles as well. And then I'll do everything that's left after that. Because I'm sure there's some that just don't fit the categories that we need to talk about. The tabulations are on the screen of how we've done so far regarding how many decks we've gone through and how many decks have been decluttered so far. Getting our mojo back a little bit. I think the next couple of categories I'm going to be a bit more ruthless with too. So, but yeah, good start today. So thanks so much for hanging out. I really appreciate it. And I will see all of you fine people in my next video.